let's assume that the brain is getting good quality information auditorily and visually. If it does, then what happens is the brain learns to process auditory and visual information sequentially. It's called sequential processing. And this is a big deal. And it's such a big deal that we're going to let you check your auditory processing here. Okay? All right, what we're going to do here is a simple little test to get an idea how well you process auditory information. Okay? And what I'm going to do is simply read you sequences of numbers. I'm going to want you to listen to each sequence and then write it down. Okay? Do not write as I read. Okay? Listen to the entire sequence and then write it down. Okay? I'm going to take a few deep breaths, relax. Even though this is a test, but we won't ask you to share the results, okay? All right. Ready? First one, letter A, 9, 7, 3. Write that down. B, 1, 4, 0, 6. C, 3, 9, 4, 1, 8. D, 0, 6, 7, 2, 8, 5. Some of you look concerned. Okay, E, 3, 5, 1, 6, 9, 2, 7. F, 5, 8, 3, 9, 1, 2, 0, 4. And please keep your eyes on your own papers. G, 7, 6, 4, 5, 8, 0, 1, 2, 9. H, 2, 1, 6, 4, 0, 8, 9, 5, 7, 3. Almost done. I, 4, 5, 3, 8, 2, 1, 7, 0, 3, 6, 9. Okay, this is your last chance. Okay. J, 8, 7, 7, 0, 3, 9, 2, 6, 1, 4, 2, 8, 0.
Now, does speed have something to do with that? If you were rattling along faster, I think I would be able to.
If I was saying them faster, it would be easier, but it would not be properly testing your auditory processing. Generally, auditory sequential processing develops at the rate of 1 piece per year. Okay, which means your 1-year-old should be able to process 1 piece. For your 1-year-old, that would be like able to follow a direction, like we say, wave bye-bye, and they can do that. That's a 1. Your 2-year-old should be able to do 2 pieces. So your 2-year-old should be able to process a direction like touch your nose and your eye. Okay. Your 3-year-old should sequence 3 pieces. Your 4-year-old, 4 pieces. Your 5-year-old, 5 pieces. Your 6-year-old, 6 pieces. Your 7-year-old, 7 pieces. Have we passed you yet? Okay, normal sequential processing for an adult is generally considered 7 plus or minus 2 digits. So a range of 5 to 9. I've been working with sequential processing for 30 years, and I can tell you if your processing is below a 7, you need help. Okay. We have an international project that we're doing. It's called the Simply Smarter Project 9 plus or minus 2. Right? And anyone can go online to our site and can check their auditory and visual processing. And essentially what our project is, it's an international project where we, number one, want to test, hopefully, something like 1 million people and establish new baselines relative to where people's processing skills are. And then we want to raise that norm up to 9 plus or minus 2. Because we really have found if you're functioning below a 7, you are not coming close to utilizing or achieving your innate potential. And those people who are functioning around 5, adults who are 5s, often are in serious trouble. We've gone out and our researchers have tested people in underprivileged areas around the planet. And we find that the typical auditory processing is something closer to a 4. Now think about that, all right? That's saying we've got areas in this world where the adults, the people who are supposed to be raising children, who are supposed to be taking care of families, contributing to the society, have the processing abilities and the neurological maturity of a typical 4-year-old child. Okay. Going into prison systems, I find the average is about a 5. Okay. And the reality of that is we can continue to put people in prison who can't function in the society and let them back out and they'll be right back in again, because unless we develop these basic skills, they're not going to be able to function within the society. Yes, ma'am?
How difficult is it to develop those skills? Like, is it quite a bit different for a child level to develop it than an adult level to develop those skills?
For young children, we've got a whole slew of different activities we do. In fact, if you go onto the project site, it actually, you can watch little video clips of how to do some activities. It's pretty simple, and they're mostly game kind of things you can do with young kids. For older kids and adults, there's software that does it pretty painlessly. So it's not hard to do. We generally find that we can, without stressing anybody out, raise most people up 2 digits in a year. All right, which is pretty significant, because we can take someone from the bottom and get them up to an average level, or take an average person and get them up to the high end. And to also put this in perspective, we have individuals that we work with whose processing is up in the high teens. Okay. And you get kids functioning at that level, and they can do virtually anything. All right. You know, I mentioned, I have this one girl who, was in the upper teens, and she learned calculus one day. Okay. All right. This, by the way, was a child who at 8, when she came to us, was labeled as having a learning disability and attention deficit hyperactive problem as well at 8. And we sent her to one of the best colleges in the country when she was 14. Okay. And she got her bachelor's degree in mathematical biology and got a full scholarship to Columbia after that. She also, by the way, was a child who had an APGAR of 1, for those of you who know what an APGAR is. So a kid who was brain injured from birth, who now has, is working on her second master's degree. She works for the Defense Department and can't tell me what she does. She's a concert violinist, concert singer, and she just sent me a record that she's producing, where she's singing and wrote all the music and the whole deal. Well, not bad. No, not bad. So processing, if you work at it, is not difficult to change. And as our kids learn, and as our families learn, they work on processing first and curriculum last. Okay, and we'll have kids who would come in, and when we're seeing them after 3 months, and they've had like a busy summer, they did no academics over the summer, but they worked on their processing, and they come back and are functioning a year higher, having done no academics in the summer. All right, just because their processing is increased. All right. So it's a big deal. It's a very, very big deal. All right. So if you do nothing else, work on your processing skills. Yes?
Now, these activities and things, you learn about them on your website?
There's some information on the website, yeah. And, we probably have, 40 different processing activities we use, something like that, depending on the age, the level of development of the child, and where they are with their processing. Yeah. Okay, so we talked about receiving information, processing information, storing information. We go back to the dominance. If you have an auditory dominance problem, you've got an auditory long-term memory problem. Visual dominance problem, visual long-term memory problems. Okay? So storage and dominance is a big issue. And then utilize information. And to utilize information, we talk about the general organization of the central nervous system. And again, if you have a dominant hemisphere, you're not only putting information where it belongs, you have access to it. You can function logically, analytically, you don't function emotionally. You need to put all those pieces together.